Alright guys, I am still out here in this vineyard and it's getting dark, so this is probably my last video for the day. And I apologize I can't do all 6 of them right now because I feel like I'm on a roll. Nonetheless guys, so this video is called The Truth About Sports. And I'm probably going to offend some of you, but some of you are going to have a switch flipped in your mind. And it'll help you understand some really interesting things, such as why are sports in the Olympics so important, and why is there so much money behind them, and most importantly, of course, why is there so much money behind sports, and yet such a small amount of that money actually goes to the athletes. Most of it goes to people running the sports, not necessarily even the coaches. Most of the money goes to people at the top running the Olympics, the Olympic Committee and such. It's quite corrupt in the end, and same with like national sports in the US and soccer leagues worldwide. A lot of money goes to owners of teams, not necessarily coaches and the players. I mean, the only reason that we can perpetuate sports is because we pay them all a great amount. We do. But it's not enough. And why do we do that? Why are we paying all these people so much money? It doesn't have to do, honestly, like the part I just mentioned about people at the top of sports, like owning the Olympics or running the Olympics or owning teams, national teams and such. That's kind of irrelevant to the big picture of what I'm trying to tell you right now, which is sports as a whole is a distraction. Because people, by and large, are naturally very tribalistic. They like to have a team. They like to have a side. They like to have a family. They like to have a crew or a group of people that they don't need to even know, but based on what they're wearing and what they're saying or cheering or yelling or how they're painted, what's on their face, what's their war paint like, based on those types of things, they can actually tell part of the ideology that this person holds. So what ideology might that be? Doesn't really matter either. What does matter is that this is all a distraction. All of it's a distraction from what's really going on. What's really going on is a lot. Point being is, they don't want you to notice. And who's they? Obviously, you're going to think I'm a conspiracy theorist at this point, right? When I start using the word they. And that's just the globalists, the 0.0001% of the world that actually run the show, actually make real decisions for billions of people worldwide. And trust me, this is one conspiracy that you cannot disprove, because the one thing that is a fact on this planet is globalist elites, globalist bankers run the world. Who rules the world? Yes, globalist bankers and people that work for Federal Reserve, IMF, and most importantly, the Council on Foreign Relations. I'll make a whole video on that later on. Not in this series. Nonetheless, so back in Roman times, the emperors realized that you could control a vast number of the people because they're common folk. They're a little less intelligent and they don't really care about what's going on behind the scenes. What they care about is being happy and entertained. And so by providing blood sport, they can fulfill this need to keep people asleep, quite literally asleep to bigger picture and bigger problems. So not just sports are needed, but a blood sport. And this actually was noted in some very important high-level, potentially top secret documents that were written by the US government in the Iron Mountain meeting. And this will be my last video I make about the Iron Mountain meeting and what came out of it. So I'm not going to go into detail there, but you can skip to the 6th one if you like. But what we found out is that globalists know and understand that people are relatively simple by and large. The majority of people are easily controlled if you keep them happy and make them feel like they're part of something, which I find kind of sad. It's like, wow, so most people are simple-minded and basically just stupid, and globalists know that, and they're taking advantage of it by providing blood sport, which is sports that will probably result in injury. And that's why in the United States, the most common sport that grown men like is football. And that's because it is the most brutal sport of all. People still are getting concussions regularly and get injuries quite often. Worldwide, the greatest sport is obviously what Americans like myself call soccer. But it's called football to most people. But yeah, people want to see people getting hurt, and for whatever reason, that helps control the masses. And the reason why they do this and perpetuate this facade is in fact to control you. You are part of the problem when you watch sports and let it consume you. Think about this. How many people do you know that will literally spend hours every single week of their life? I'm talking about males mostly, and of course this applies to males specifically because females by and large don't care about big picture topics in general. Like, talk to your average female, they don't really care about politics until the SJWs start screaming racist, sexist, homophobe, xenophobe, whatever. That's when females get triggered, is when they feel like they have to defend, their mom instincts kick in and they say, oh no, I gotta defend the children or something, That's how you get them involved. But by and large, it's men who will be already involved in politics on just a natural level. And so you have to distract the men mostly. And this is based on like biology. There is definitely a male and female brain. And so the men buying into sports, they'll spend hours each week following their favorite sports, learning about players. How beta is this? This is such a beta male, pathetic just trait, is when they're spending hours of their life, their short life here on earth, not spending it on their own selves, but spending it researching other men who they deem better than themselves. And on top of all that, they'll spend even more hours now. I'm talking about like millennials and younger. Hopefully not younger. I hope this is the thing that dies out. But fantasy sports, again, one of the most pathetic things I've ever come across. And so many of my male friends have literally invited me to play fantasy sports. And man, I just stare them in the face being like, dude, I got a life, dude. I don't have time for that shit. Like, why do you have time for that? It's so pathetic. Like, playing a video game, at least, that requires you to do some real fast calculations with your brain. See how nimble you are when you're coming across a large amount of information constantly and having to make balancing acts and basically change your strategy in order to try to win, So there's some actual thought required. That is a cool shot. At least there's some thought required when you're talking about games, right? But anyway, wow, I look really blue now. It just got really blue. Whatever. Anyways, guys, in closing, I just want to say, if you're watching this, you have the potential to be something truly magnificent, something truly important that has the opportunity, and I say nay, not just the opportunity, the duty to stop. You have a responsibility to help save the freaking world, and I am not kidding. And in my next video, I will go into the details of what I mean by that when I say save the whole world, because if you're an American male, you very much do have that kind of power in your hands, and I hope you use it wisely and please watch my other videos. I thank you for watching, guys, but this is just the beginning of this short series. Please spend the time to watch the next episode. More information to come. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.